history to me is our heritage, civil rights, all the struggles that our people went through. If the young people of today would really realize what the people of the 60s did for them to make it so that they can go to school anywhere they want to, they can live anywhere they want to. There is no separation of bathrooms and restaurants and hotels. They will really look at things differently.
Black history is kind of like the African American thing, where you're somewhere in Africa, you know, you're here in America and you came from somewhere in Africa, but where? You know, what nation of people, what culture, what customs, what traditions. You know, Black history doesn't teach you those things, you know, so it's a separation. You know, it's like, that's why I say it's like an end of national sovereignty and the beginning of a commercial age.
To me, Black history is important because people can look at their past mistakes or accomplishments and learn from them. What bothers me is that it seems like we have not learned, because even though Black people over the years have come forth from slavery, from the history of what I've learned about slavery, we're kind of still repeating that amongst ourselves. We keep each other in bondage. If we see one that's accomplishing something, we either talk about them, slander them, or even physically harm them because of something that we are still repeating from our past. So history to me can either be a life-changing moment or it could be a moment to keep you in bondage. It's all up to the individual. But a lot of people, even though they celebrate Black history, they're still living in the past. So their mind is still in the history part, yet we're in the present.
The farthest you Americanos go back to history is what, maybe the 1600s. Black history, damn sure ain't American history, I tell you that for sure. People have written books, and I've read books all over the world, especially here in America. It's just, Black history is different. We had a few leaders that was publicized. You had Martin, Malcolm, Garvey. You had a lot of Black activists, and they killed them all. I mean, the government killed them all, man. So what does that tell you about Black history?
Is all the people who suffered, all the people who struggled, all the people who made it where they desired to get to, that made it possible for me to be able to do all that I desire in this day and time. All the people who had to fight a battle, you know, to get rights that we didn't have when we were looked at as less than human.
Black History Month, to me, represents finding quality, where you come from, your history, your ancestors. Black History Month is very important. We recognize our leaders that has changed the course of history, that has pretty much made a difference in the way we live today.
I think even the ones who went through it have forgotten. We as a people, we are more divided than together. And if you look at and really study our Black history, back then people were together. People respected one another. People pulled together, and now Black folks don't do that anymore. It's like everybody for their own selves.
I would have to first probably say it's fruit to the soul, meaning that this was built on a foundation that we as a Black people should never forget. It's not about a month, and it's not, I don't even really feel like Black history should be celebrated. I just feel like Black history should be appreciated.
Black history to me is Afrocentric. A little bit of ethnocentrism without the superiority complex, in that for so long we've been labeled inferior that we revel in the fact that people who've come before us of the same color have been pillars in the society regardless of what they've done, whether they be actors, musicians, doctors, lawyers, that these people have made it and that it's possible for me too. Black History Month for me It's showing me where I came from and teaching me that though it's hard, it's been done. It's never an excuse to give up.
History in the making, where we are actually being heard. We are able to express our opinions, our voice. It really making a difference. Now we are able to be up on top where people are looking up to us. We are in higher positions. Like Barack Obama said, a change, and that's what it is right now. This is a new decade, a new industry. It's a change.
Do you think we don't single ourselves out? Do the people from China call themselves tan or yellow? You know, do the people from Italy, do they say I'm white, or do they hold their head proud when they say that I'm an Italian? You know, what people in the world ignore the national descent of their forefathers and refer to themselves in a color scheme. I mean, now you have to think back to the era that Carter G. Woodson was in. You know, in the 1920s is when he established Negro History Week, you know, which evolved to be the Black History Month that we celebrate. You know, but that move right there is a demonstration of what I feel is a demonstration of what W.E.B. Du Bois was referring to when he talked about a talented tenth. You know, those who would set the customs and traditions of their people, of our people. You know, that would lead us into a more progressive cultural development in this particular society that we're living in. You know, that wasn't the end right there. The establishment and the regular celebration of a history of a people is a means to continuous cultural improvement. Now, when you look at what he engendered there was a consistent period of reflection to what we have accomplished, what we have gone through, that entire spectrum, not just the diaspora, you know, or the struggle, the period of slavery and things like that, you know. But how much of our history do we know about? You know, we're stuck there at Black history. We start off right at 1619 and come forward. We don't really go back, you know, decisively with definitive information, you know, details.
I have a strong belief in the Bible. You know, I do believe in God. And one of my favorite verses is, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." That's just a part of a verse. But if your mind is not being transformed, then you're still going to keep getting the same results. To me, it's pure insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So if you want something changed, then the first thing you need to change is your mind.
You have to have knowledge of self. You have to have knowledge of who you are, where you come from, your ancestors, your bloodline. Before, I mean, black history, the color black is that death. So that's not a race nor nationality at all. I just think that the culture here is lost, pretty much. And it's not really the people's fault. History has been destroyed. It's his story.
I would challenge them to think outside of the box, to do the thing that seems impossible. So I would challenge youth, older people, any black person, if there's something out there that you want to do, as long as you still have breath, go after that dream.
I mean, historically, we look at cultural expression, you know, and we express culture all day, every week, every month, all year. So the culture that some of our so-called black youth are living, you know, where you get your culture from? You know, where you learn the things that you do? You know, who started the traditions that you partake of? And even further than that, the traditions that you partake of, what do they mean? You know, what happened to the ones that you used to partake of, your forefathers? And what did they mean? Where did they come from? And what's the relationship between what you're doing now and what we were doing yesterday? Tell me that and I'll be content.
To practice what they preach, when if they, instead of complain, saying that they're not able to do this or they're not getting the opportunity to do things because they're not putting the effort. So if they feel that if they want a change, they have to put that effort, they have to put their foot forward.
To have more discussions of race relations. I think not just black, not white, Chinese, or whatever. To be an American is to have a racial point of view, and that doesn't make you racist. And I think we're so sensitive to anything racial that we automatically misperceive anything anybody says on the issue of race as being prejudiced, you know. And I think we pour cement over it. And when something try to grow through it, or you bring it up in discussion, it's like, no, we've gotten through that. You know, people are no longer oppressed, whatever color. There are no other issues. It's not a race issue. It's a class issue. And so many class issues and so many other things are still tied into what we haven't dealt with.
I challenge you to look at what they went through. Look at how they were together, and you know, put that in practice today. Helping one another, and, you know, pulling each other together, pull it together instead of pulling each other down.